Anyway everybody, welcome back. Now this is a pickups episode with a slight difference, as in there's some blooming blinding good tat coming up here. We've been raiding Fort Knox and we've got a few nuggets of gold. Of course you may think it's crap, obviously, entirely your prerogative. To me it's gold. But let me know what you think anyway. So I think we'll just crack on really, there's no particular order. This first one, now this is actually a repro for the Saturn. I haven't bought any repros for quite some time actually. But this one is ludicrously expensive for the proper one. There's no way in the world I'd ever pay it. No game is worth the kind of money this goes for, in my opinion. And it's called Shinri Jusachi, I think it is. Shinri Jusachi or something like that. Shinri Jusatsushi Terumaru, or words to that effect. It's about 500-600 quid plus if you want to buy a proper one of these. Hence the reason I bought this. No game's worth that kind of money. But this is a really interesting game. It's kind of I suppose it's like a Shinobi sort of 2D platform action game. Really good. No way am I telling you to buy a proper one. It's a Japanese exclusive. But if you can emulate it in some way or get a repro yourself, that is a blindingly good game for the Saturn. I mean, it's a shame it's so expensive, and it's a shame it's Jap exclusive, you know, in many ways, but one of many. But I just thought I'd show that one because, like I say, it's so expensive, and you might not be aware of it because it's not particularly common, hence the reason it's probably so expensive. So I thought that was worth mentioning. So that's out the way now, Stu. No more repros, you'll be pleased to know. We're now on to absolute gold, in my opinion. Now it is mainly Megadrive. So if Megadrive's not your thing, you may think this is absolute worthless old tat. And that's fine if you do, I don't. It doesn't offend me. However, I've got a couple of others to show before we get to the Megadrive. Now, all this gold has come about through your good friend of mine, Craig. And we'd all, you know, he's thinning out a lot of his stuff, as you probably know. And anyway, we were having sort of negotiations, and there was a fair sized bunch of stuff that, you know, we'd worked out I was going to have. And so basically this, what I'm going to show today, is part of it, and then the next pickups video I'll show the rest of it. But it's also interspersed with stuff I've bought myself, you know, in the meantime. But I've still not caught up with pickups videos yet, as I've said before. So with this, all this is probably like a month or more ago now. And there is another, there are more negotiations for some more gold in the pipeline, so going forwards there will hopefully be some more to show in the future. Enough of that. We'll get on to what we've actually got at the moment. Now this first one is, as you know, I've been going mad on shooters, and I've kind of, Raiden is one of my favourite things that I've found. I absolutely love the game, and so I've been, more fool me I suppose in some ways, but I decided I thought I'd like to get every version you could of Raiden. I mean, I'd got some to start with, but I thought there aren't that many, so I'm going to try and get them all because I like it so much. So this is one of those, and it's Raiden DX on the Japanese PS1. Which is basically like an enhanced port of the original Raiden game, but it only came out in Japan. We only got the Raiden project here, which is like Raiden 1 and 2 on one disc, as they got in Japan, but then Japan also got this version as well, which is a much nicer cover, I think. Unfortunately not had a massive amount of time to try much of this stuff, and I tried them when I first got them like a month ago, and I haven't had time to go back to them since. I seem to remember the soundtrack's quite a bit different on this, but I could be wrong. I could be thinking of the PC Engine CD one. Anyway, absolutely chuffed to get Raiden DX. I was going to say something then, but that'll spoil future pickups, so I'll just leave it there. Anyway, right, next, Xbox 360. Don't switch off. Don't switch off. It's not your typical worthless tat. We picked up another shooter for the Xbox 360, and this is Shooting Love 300X or something. I can't remember. Anyway, basically, it's like a collection of sort of older style shooters, more so than the flashier things you normally expect on a 360. And I think, I can't remember now, there's definitely X-Seal and A-Seal, is it, I think? Yeah, and I'm sure there's a caravan shooter on here or something. Anyway, there's about 3 or 4 different shooters on here from memory. And I really quite like this sort of simplified nature, more so than the complex shooters you normally get on this generation of console. And I believe these games, A-Seal and X-Seal, are in the same series that's on the Dreamcast, Tri-Seal, is it, I think? So yeah, really chuffed to get that one. I now need, there's another one of these Shooting Love games with different set of games on it, 200X or something. Anyway, chuffed to get that one. That one was off Craig, as was Raiden. Right, we're now on to the Megadrive. So if you don't like Megadrive, now is probably the time to switch off. Hence why I put Streets of Rage 2 on in the background, probably the best game on the Megadrive for me. Streets of Rage 2, did I say 2 or whatever? Anyway, Streets of Rage 2, or Bare Knuckle 2. Right. Now these first few weren't what I got off Craig. These are just what I've bought off eBay, I think. Now this first one, we've got Crackdown. Now this is another game similar to Gain Ground, which I showed in the last Pickles video, I think it was. Totally overlooked this back in the day. Never gave it a second thought. It don't look particularly great on the box. Especially the PAL version, as I remember, that was quite a boring looking box. This one is better. As I said in my last video, I've started putting my Megadrive in box protectors. So apologies if there's too much glare. Yeah, this is another one like Gain Ground that really surprised me. I don't think it's as good as Gain Ground, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of a similar vein of game where it's like an overhead shooter, but it's not like a fast-paced shooter. It's more like a maze type shooter, and you've got to sort of disarm bombs throughout the level and get to the exit kind of scenario. It looks kind of a bit like Gauntlet, but it's not as sort of frenetic as Gauntlet. But again, much like Gain Ground, it really took me back, and I wished I'd tried it back in the day, because I really think it's quite a decent game. It's an arcade game, as I remember. I've never seen the arcade, but I don't think I've played I could try and play the arcade version actually. It's probably on my V2 or on the Xbox. I might try that actually, since playing that and liking it. But yeah, that's Crackdown anyway. hopefully I've put a bit of footage up in case you've not played it yourself. Most of these you probably have played, so I'll put footage up if I've got the time. Right, next up, this is one, again, I don't think I ever played it back in the day, but I played this on emulation in more recent times and thought this was quite good. If I'll keep my eyes open for this. And I got Dynamite Duke. These are all Japanese games, obviously. You obviously probably know, but I won't keep saying this. So much nicer artwork. And again, this is so much nicer than the English box. But yeah, this is like Operation Wolf basically. The only difference being you sort of see the outline of your character on the screen rather than just seeing the screen in front of you. You can see your persona, even though you can move left and right, but essentially it's like Operation Wolf. Again, really good. Not going to blow your socks off, but really chuffed to have it. We are getting to good stuff. I'm not lying. This next one, I've wanted this for some time, and unfortunately it's never been cheap for the Japanese one. Well, not in recent years anyway. And it was one of them that I thought at the time when I've nearly bought it in the past, I thought, I'm not paying that, it's too much money for what it is. I'll wait and I'll get it cheaper. And of course, you never do you? And it's gone from being like, I don't know, maybe a 70, 80 pound game to now it's probably 120, 150 for a Japanese copy. There's no way I've paid it. The game's not that, it's not worth that kind of money. But I have to have it for obvious reasons. It's Outrun 2019. Now, as you can see, this is a Japanese cover. So what I've actually done is buy the PAL version and put my own Japanese cover in it, just so as it looks right with all my other Japanese games. But it is just a regular PAL copy in nice condition. I've bought it off a collector because the manuals come in a baggie. I mean, it has got the English cover underneath, but like I say, I just wanted it to match my other boxes, hence the reason I put it in the Japanese cover. And although it's not as good as Outrun, I had to have it because it was part of the Outrun set, and hence the reason I've always wanted it for years. I just couldn't bring myself to pay the money because it's not in the same league. Having said that, it is actually a really decent sort of Megadrive era racing game. It's got nice tunes, and it does follow a similar format to Outrun with branching paths, and it's more of a set like an easy course, a medium course and a hard course, rather than picking your own route wherever you want to go. But it does play really well, and it is a good game. I would still like the Japanese one, but it's going to have to be at a bargain price and drop lucky somewhere. For the time being, that's going to do me, to be honest. Right, now this next one, this is another one. I had actually played this sometime, way back when, but kind of dismissed it. I always thought it was it's a poor man's Space Harrier, and I kind of left it there really. And so it never bothered me. But then, since I've been since I've been getting into shooters, and I've been trying to expand like my Megadrive stuff, and buy some Megadrive shooters, because that's my favourite era for shooters that I've found so far. This got onto my radar again. And unfortunately it's now not a particularly cheap game because it's not that common. So I'm guessing they didn't sell many back in the day. And we've got Burning Force, which is a Namco. I believe it's an arcade. Again, I've never seen it. But anyway, yeah, it's basically like Space Harrier. And you're kind of riding I don't know what it is really, some kind of hover bike or something. Well, it's that thing there obviously, but again, it's another lovely box. Again, hopefully I'll put some footage up, but I actually think this is really quite decent now. Like I say, unfortunately now it's not a particularly cheap game. I got lucky with this on eBay and got it way under what it normally sells for. It's probably 70-80 quid game, generally speaking, and I got it way less than that. So I did drop lucky, and I'm chuffed to bits to have it because it is a really good game. If you like Space Harrier, I'm sure you're going to like that, because it's right in that ballpark, as is, you know, in a very similar style like the Rainbow Cotton and not Rainbow Cotton, sorry, Panorama Cotton, and Night Striker as well. It's very much like that. Right, now the rest of this stuff now, I did get off Craig in this sort of mega gold hoard. Like I say, this is kind of half of it. So we'll go in kind of ascending levels of gold, I think we'll call it. This first one, you probably wouldn't call it gold, to be honest, but it is a particularly nice box, and it is a good game as well, to be honest. And we've got Alien Storm. I mean, look at the box art on this compared to the PAL version. I mean, the PAL version's all right, but compared to this, it's not in the same league, is it? It's just an absolute stunner, and it's one of these that form one big picture if you open the box up. Now again, Alien Storm is one of them games I did play very briefly back in the day and kind of thought it's a poor man's Streets of Rage, or it's Streets of Rage with aliens, which it kind of is really. But that said, I think with the benefit of hindsight, it is a really good game. And it's not a fortune. Well, the Jack one's a bit more expensive, but you know, a PAL one, especially if you got on Mega Games 3, it's like peanuts. You can't really go wrong if you like Streets of Rage. Alien Storm, bit of a no-brainer really. But that is a stunning box, in my opinion. Right. There's 4 left. I'm not sure, it's personal preference really. You could say one is better than the other, but I've probably put them in my order of how I sort of think of them, if you like. But I mean, they're all good, but you know. So, first one we've got is Fire Mustang. Now this is I think it's a Jap exclusive. There's certainly no PAL version. I'm pretty sure it's Jap exclusive, this. Anyway, it's a Taito game. Again, I'm sure this is an arcade. Maybe it's a nice box. I wouldn't say it was like a stellar box, but it is a nice box. And this is like a horizontal shooter, sort of set in like World War II era style planes. And this is really good. It just doesn't look as flashy as some shooters do, and but it kind of dots the I's and crosses the T's, and it's a really, you don't hear many people talk about it, but I think it's a really good shoot. It just doesn't look perhaps as good as it plays. It's a bit underwhelming to look at, I think, but once you start playing it, it's really, really good in my opinion. I suppose it's, if you've played UN Squadron, it's kind of visually a bit like that really. So that's Fire Mustang. I will hopefully put some footage up of that one, because it's a lot less common than some shooters. So I was chuffed to get that one. Then the next one, this is another one in a similar vein. Now there is an American version of this on the Genesis. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure, almost 99% sure I've seen the Genesis version. But again, there's no PAL version. And we've got Insector X. Now this is another horizontal shooter, where you are like an insect rather than like a spacecraft, so it's a bit different in that respect. Again, it's nice artwork on the box. And again, this is another one of those don't get spoke about that often, yet it's another really good shooter in my opinion. And this one does look quite nice as well, I think. In Sector X, really good. And again, another great Megadrive shoot. Megadrive is so good for shooters. Without hands down, it's by far my favourite system for shooters. I'd much rather play these than the later ones on like more powerful consoles, in my opinion. The Megadrive and the PC Engine are where it's at for me. Right, we've got two left. Now this game is mega, I've got to say, and the soundtrack on it is an absolute stunner. And we've got Guy RS. Again, there's an American version of this, but now PAL. The American version is quite a nice orange box actually. However, this is still a nice box. Some girly action on the back. And yeah, another horizontal shooter, but what an amazing game this is. You can understand why it commands the value it does, because it is really good. I just wish I had more talent for these shooters. If I'd have been playing them since I was 20, I might be a lot better now than I actually am. You know, with my decrepit aged skills, or lack of, I'm nowhere near as good as I perhaps might have been had I been playing them for the last 20 odd years. But anyway, that's Guy RS. I'm absolutely chuffed to have that one in the collection. I mean, it'd be epic to have a full Megadrive shooter collection, but realistically speaking, it is never going to happen. I wouldn't even entertain trying to get them all, because there's some crazy price stuff. There's also a few turds as well, to be fair. Right, now the last one. You might have been expecting to see this, having listened to what I've already said earlier in the video. And when I was negotiating with Craig, there was one, first and foremost, I wanted in front of any of the others, and it was this one. And of course, it's Raiden. What a game. I love Raiden. Now again, you can get this on American, but now PAL. The American box isn't particularly attractive in my opinion. The Jap one's a lot nicer. Slight fade on the spine, but I don't mind. It's a bit of a shame that the picture is the same picture on the front and the back, if you like, or the start of the ship and the rear of the ship. It's a shame it don't continue around the spine. I don't know what they were thinking there, but anyway, Raiden. What an amazing game. I absolutely love it on everything. It's kind of different on everything as well, really. The different conversions are all a bit different. I'm not expert on it enough to say which one is the best or anything like that, but I think of all the ones I've played, which is most of them now, I do quite like the Megadrive version. I know some people say that, you know, it's not so good in some areas, but I really like it. Top quality game. So I'm absolutely chuffed to death to have that in the collection. That was a must-have once I discovered how much I liked Raiden in the first place. That was an absolute must-buy, and so I was really chuffed to get it. And I've got to say, cheers Craig for sorting me out. We're not going to be vulgar and talk about money on the video, but many thanks Craig, you sorted me out wonderfully well. So there we go, that was part 1 of the Gold Hoard. Part 2 to come in the next upcoming episode, and hopefully, like I say, there will also be more in the future because negotiations are ongoing. So there we go. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you soon. Sayonara.